Op gets shoved by her ex-boyfriend and it brings up trauma causing her to leave him. Then almost 5 years later she came back to Reddit looking for more advice on her new boyfriend who she suspects is still in love with his ex. My boyfriend, 27M, and I, 21F, got into a big fight recently because I had lied about how long I had a job for when we first met. I was wrong and I know I was wrong. I knew better than to argue back, so I just explained myself, which of course it isn't an excuse, but I felt like he at least needed to know why. I didn't tell him the whole truth because I was embarrassed and I was scared he was gonna judge me. He said it in front of my parents and he was calm, but the minute we were away from my parents, he started screaming at me. I just kept apologizing and trying to explain, and I know I shouldn't have, but I went to hug him and he shoved me multiple times and he was putting his hands around my neck, not squeezing, so I tried to go and hold his hands when he let go, but he shoved my hands hard. My problem is I have a history of abuse. My ex used to shove me, pull me by my arm, and it ended when he went to punch me in my face, so when this happened, I freaked out. I had a panic attack when he left because I started thinking that he actually shoved me. I worry a lot more because I had to have a talk to him before about being aggressive with me. One time I was looking at his table and he had a sticky pad that had some girl's name on it, so jokingly I said, "Oh, who's blah blah blah?" And he just turned and screamed at me about how he does everything and this is what people do to him, and I was so shocked I started tearing up, so I just turned and walked away, and he had to grab me when he saw me crying. Another time I grabbed papers to put them away somewhere on his shelves and I just said, "What's this paper?" And he grabbed it out of my hands really rough. I don't know if I'm just being dramatic or too cautious, or if I'm pushing him to that point, or if these are just warning signs I'm ignoring. So am I being dramatic? Commenter: you are ignoring warning signs and you need to get out of that relationship like yesterday. You lied about something stupid and irrelevant in the long run, and his response is to get physical and verbally aggressive with you. Please take my advice and get away from this guy before it goes any further. In a normal functioning relationship, not matter what, it shouldn't ever get physical. He doesn't have a right to put his hands on you in an aggressive manner. Update 1: in a new relationship. 4 years and 10 months later. Editor's note: presumably, this post and all future posts are referring to a new/different boyfriend, due to the difference in age, and it had been 4 years since they posted about the previous boyfriend. I need to know if I'm just acting out of stress as I'm dealing with grief over a loved one currently, or if this is something I really should be concerned about. I, 26F, met my boyfriend, 24M, around the end of August, and we started dating in Sept/October. I always had mixed feelings about going into a relationship with him, as whenever we talked about our past, he would talk very strongly about his ex. I have asked him multiple times if he still has feelings for her, but he says no. I never cared about exes with my past relationships, but he is actively talking to her as they are still semi-attached by something. Last time they met because of said thing, she went to his house and he told me she was saying that she didn't like that we were dating and saying he didn't care about her. He told me he told her he does care about her, but he's serious about me. I was still concerned because she went over and he didn't tell me until he met me later that night. Also, when we were in the talking stage, he tried to go around the truth that one night, he was on the phone with her because she said she needed him. He told me she was trying to hint at them getting together, and I told him if he's considering it, I want to know now. He said no. But I did find his past Reddit account, and it's nothing but posts and comments about her, about how he thought he would marry her by year 1 and that after they broke up, she would visit and they would almost have crack every time. Now I'm panicking that something may have happened, as he allows to come over whenever she wants. I worry more too because when we first met, he was very sweet and tried to impress me, but now he'll just play games on his phone or desktop and he won't bother to even get ready when I come. He also won't kiss me more than once a day if I don't ask. Is this a valid concern? Am I just overthinking? Update 2. 1 month later. I've been dating my BF for about 5 months now, and a big problem between us has been that his ex is still in his life. They are connected by a pet, so I didn't really mind at first that she was still in his life. However, there was a phone call when we're talking where she said she needed someone to talk to, and it turned into her asking him if he still loved her. After he asked me to be his GF, she went to his apartment to see the pet and started saying things about how he's being disrespectful to her because she thought it was too soon for him to date, and asking if he's actually serious about me. She told him that I looked older and then kept shaming him for being 2 years older, and she kept repeating to him that she's talking to someone and he's rich and tall. He ended up telling me as he didn't want to hide anything from me, and obviously I didn't like it, so I ended up telling him I didn't want her in his apartment alone, and he tried to argue about how he would have to be outside in the cold but agreed he wouldn't let her in the apartment anymore. Now I ended up having a rough day at work where I got hurt, and as I'm texting him, he calls me, which he usually doesn't do, and as I pick up, He said he didn't know I was busy at work? Which is strange because he never calls me if he knows I'm working. When we got off the phone, he texts me that his ex asked for a favor and he wants my opinion on it. Apparently her storage needs to be emptied and there's rat feces in it and she has no one to help and needs his help. I said no, after which he said I don't feel comfortable with the situation. He said okay, I'll tell her no, but keeps saying that he feels bad for her. He keeps asking me if it's because I don't trust him, which isn't true. I do, but I don't trust her. I also feel like she's just gonna keep pushing the boundaries and saying offhand things. She also was abusive to him, so when I brought that up to question why he feels he owes her, he said the past and her asking a favor doesn't correlate, which? I feel like you wouldn't even want to talk to an ex where it ended badly. He tried to compare her situation to a hypothetical situation where my ex would end up sick and ask me for help. I said I wouldn't help, no, because we don't talk. He ended up saying me saying no is me being spiteful, which hurts a lot right now, and I'm feeling guilty, as he said he feels bad for her and knew her for 5 years, so he wants to help, but he doesn't want to upset me, so he feels like he needs to say no. He also told her that I was the one saying no and that I knew what she had said about me, and she was asking why he was telling me what she said. I ended up getting over emotional and yelling that it's just rat feces and storage, people go through worse things, so why is he pushing this? He said he always had to hold her hand through things when they dated. So why does she get the same treatment after the relationship ended? I'm trying to take a step back and clear my mind, but how do I navigate this? Update 3. 3 months later. I just went on a trip to a concert with my best friend and her boyfriend, which turned into her boyfriend having us run around all day or else he would be upset. I can't even sit out on a day because he wanted all of us at stuff. I then took PTO to make sure I could see my BF, so after 3 days of running around, with my sore, blistered feet and being exhausted, I go to my boyfriend's. He immediately tells me he has to leave me alone for lunch because he needs to do a private lunch with his sister, so I'm a little disappointed, but I figured we have the morning before I leave to go back home. He slept until 1:30 p.m. even though I woke up him several times. He didn't get up until I was packed and then jumped up and said he was ready to go out. At that point, I just wanted to go home. He couldn't give a care less, just followed behind me saying sorry repeatedly, but that he was tired, and when I said I asked him if it was okay for me to come over, he had no response. I went home. He didn't even help me bring my heavy bag to the Uber. He hasn't even texted me since. All he offered before I left was to do something online, and I said no. I pushed myself past my limit to see him, to make him happy, and he dogged on it. I'm so sick of compromising myself, my wants and my health to try to keep everyone else happy, but no one cares if I'm happy. Update 4. 8 months later. I came from zero vet med background. Previously worked at a doggy daycare where a shift was just me and 15 to 27 dogs from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. with lack of management, and I left precisely because of that and decided to pursue vet med. I'm one of the first staff members for this vet office and went in with zero experience as care coordinator, and I feel like I worked myself up to the point where people will come to me and ask advice on phone calls/clients and how to use certain software, but I decided I wanted to become a vet assistant and work up to vet tech. I feel like it was the biggest mistake I made because my manager threw me in with only a day or two of shadowing someone else. I don't know how to handle properly and I'm still learning labs, surgery, etc. It's also somehow turned my whole staff against me. I've heard that people were using me as a joke, saying I can handle it by myself. I'm not Mistrudels, or a situation happened where 2 co-workers were bickering about a chair and one said, well, Mistrudels doesn't agree, and the other said, do you really want to take advice from Mistrudels? Etc. And it's killing my confidence and my drive. I do not ask for help unless it's something lab related that I don't know, as in running ear cytologies or specific labs that aren't common like snap tests. I did want more training, but when I brought up to my manager, she told me I should be more confident, and I'm doing great, but then I'm getting the opposite from my coworkers. I've had them purposely go over me to treat a patient because they just want it done. I also cried to my manager recently because I felt like when I walked in and asked for something, I was ignored, and I get eye rolls if I hold incorrectly and need to adjust. It also turned into someone, or maybe more, complaining to my manager about how I hold, but when I ask them to tell me if I need to adjust, they just say I'm fine. Today felt like the final straw because I walked into them talking about me, saying if it's just me and this specific coworker, they're gonna walk out, and I just stared at them blankly as another coworker laughed. They tried to turn it around by saying, oh no, I mean we both should walk out, and I just said and walked away. I feel like I'm getting whiplash as well because I'll walk in or hear about them saying things about me, but then they all ask me to hang out or they want to follow me on social media for some reason. It's also just getting on me that I created this whole system up front and worked so hard to be allowed in the back just for everyone to make me feel stupid. They all have 5+ years of experience, and I have 4 to 5 months maybe? It also feels like whenever I tell my manager this, all she has to say is I'm doing great and she's sorry. It never changes, nothing is ever said, and I'm thinking of seriously finding another office. Update 5. 8 months later, over 6.5 years from the original. I was at my boyfriend's parents' app where he lives because I had a day or two off. I went to an event pop-up and decided to leave my bag at his so I could grab it really quick and leave as I was leaving at 7 a.m. to stand in line for the event. He also was about 10 minutes away when I had left the app. I apologized and I'm freaking out and can't relax because it sounds like he's gonna break up with me despite me apologizing and he may tell his parents. Am I overreacting by freaking out? Editor's note: attached to the post are screenshots of text message conversations between Oop, in blue, and her boyfriend, in gray. Oop censored their boyfriend's name, and attempted to censor their friend's name, but have left the friend's name uncensored in some screenshots. I have transcribed the messages here. Oop, also your door doesn't lock? I was almost charged a late fee. 'Cause I couldn't lock it. Boyfriend, you left it unlocked. Oop, I know. Oh, boyfriend, it was wide open. Oop, I was trying to lock it and it wouldn't lock. Boyfriend, you just closed the door. Oop, I did. And it wasn't locking. Boyfriend, you shouldn't be leaving if my door isn't locked. Oop, I called the car. And I was about to charge the late fee. I kept trying to lock it. Boyfriend, okay? So you leave my door open? Oop, boyfriend, I'm sorry but I was trying. Usually it just locks when I close it. Boyfriend, I'm not even gonna argue about this. Oop, I'm not arguing? Boyfriend, you keep trying to tell me you will be charged a late fee. Oop, I'm sorry but it usually does lock when I just close it. Boyfriend, I don't care. You do not leave my home open. Oop, because I was gonna be. I'm sorry, boyfriend. I was trying. You can ask, friend. I kept trying to lock it from inside. And then I was putting the key in. And the lock was coming out. Boyfriend, then you eat the fee and he'll pay for it. Oop, and it wasn't locking. Boyfriend, what would you do if dog got out? Oop, I'm not gonna make you pay the fee. Boyfriend, or someone stole my stuff. Oop, I had the door shut. When I left. Boyfriend, someone can open it. Oop, I'm sorry. Boyfriend, it looked opened. It wasn't shut all the way. Oop, I shut it all the way. I pulled on it. I'm sorry, I thought it was closed. Boyfriend, the top lock was open. So it wasn't shutting. Oop, way top lock. The bottom locks. When I just hoot the door, it automatically locks. Boyfriend, attached a video of a door. The door has a doorknob and a jimmy-proof deadbolt above the doorknob. When the deadbolt is in the closed state, you cannot close the door. One of you touched the top lock? Oop, I did not touch that. Boyfriend, stuff doesn't move on its own. Oop, I didn't touch it. I never ouched the top. Boyfriend, okay, so if it wasn't you. It was, friend. Oop, as far as I know Tierney, friend, didn't. 'Cause she only touched the bottom knob. Boyfriend, okay, so it just moved on its own. Oop, Ike. I didn't touch it. I always thought I wasn't supposed to. Boyfriend, regardless I don't care. Oop, so I only touched the bottom knee. Boyfriend, you don't leave unless you turn the knob and it's locked. Oop, I'm sorry. Boyfriend, end of discussion. Oop, I know I'm sorry. I thought it was shut. But I was sitting there trying to lock. And it wouldn't. I wasn't gonna make you pay a fee. So I just panicked. That's on me. I'm sorry. Boyfriend, like I said, if you didn't touch the top then friend did. Locks don't open on their own. Definitely it's on your cause, you know you should not leave my house open. You also did not ask me if friend could come in. You can't just let people inside without asking. Oop, I'm sorry about that too. I just had her in the hallway. And I packed really quick. But I still forgot stuff. I'm sorry about that too. Boyfriend, you should be apologizing to my parents, not me. It's not even my place. They were okay with giving you the keys, so these things should never have even happened. Oop, that's fair, I can give back the keys. Boyfriend, I'm sorry but I can't understand how you can panic and not check if it's locked before leaving. Oop, I was panicking cause it was messaging about fees and I kept trying to lock it. And I was like, what the fudge? So I pulled it shut hard. Boyfriend, right, then you should have pushed and see if it opened. Oop, I know. I'm sorry. I was also just trying to speed run out of the app. Hence why I left things. I just basically threw my shit in my bag. And threw my clothes in the hamper. Boyfriend, not sure why you had to speedrun. Have her wait or ask me if she can come up. Oop, 'cause I didn't want to be in there. For a long time. Boyfriend, pack your stuff then call the car. Oop, I was meant to pack it last night. And I was rushing in the morning. So I didn't get to it. Boyfriend, again, why are you rushing to get out? You're just going home. OP, so I don't pay a large amount for a Uber? And again, I didn't want to be in there a long time. I was meant to just grab my bag and go. If I leave any later, I also end up in an hour and a half of traffic. I didn't mean to disrespect you or your family. I should have thought a little more and not panicked, and I'm sorry. You'll give the key back, and if, unreadable part, I'll apologize to your mom too. Boyfriend, I just need to process this. Okay. I'm really sorry I sent you money.